HSK grammar, HSK 语法 HSK 六级语法文言文 Classical Chinese. I am 老徐，我是老徐。First, congratulations, you are now in HSK6. I don't know what I should talk about grammar in HSK6. So I just pick up a interesting video, so I want to talk about it. It is about 文言文 Classical Chinese. So a foreigner, a fluent Chinese learner called Fu Lingfang, he created a funny video about 文言文, which is classical Chinese. The title is called 外国人做文言文 WTF 难酷, meaning a foreigner who is working on the classical Chinese is crying for help. Why? Because it's so different from modern Chinese, even though he's very fluent in Chinese. Of course, the purpose of his video was to encourage the students who are in the third year of their high school take the national college examination we call 高考. He wanted to encourage them by making himself funny, how to understand 文言文. Okay, let's see what is 文言文. It is interesting. It's better to have a good knowledge about that. So it is definitely not Mr. Fu Lingfang's fault, because to understand 文言文 you need to have some basic training. So 文言文 is different from the modern Chinese. We call that 白话文. 白 meaning white or clear, 话 meaning conversation, 文 meaning language. So basically 白话文 meaning something like what you write on paper is what you say. But 文言文 classical Chinese is different. Written language is different from what you are saying, the spoken language. In the current Chinese literature education system, when students finish their 5 or 6 years elementary school, they will learn basic classical Chinese called 文言文 in middle school, which can help them understand the traditional Chinese literature. The history, a little bit history. Before 20th century, classical Chinese 文言文 is the only written language for books, even the governmental documents. People in different parts of the country, maybe they cannot talk to each other, but they can communicate with 文言文. Even people in different parts of Asia, such as Japan or Korea, they can use this method to communicate, because 文言文 classical Chinese is relatively stable in its development of 2,000 years. Later, in the 1920s, with the new cultural movement, we call that 新文化运动, Chinese abandoned the 文言文 and used the modern Chinese. Since then, actually around that time and before that time, other countries and regions also began to introduce and use their local written language, which is the same as spoken language. Okay, so that was a little bit history. As to the difference between 文言文 classical and modern Chinese 和白话文, generally speaking, 文言文 is much concise than 白话文. You know, 白话文 modern Chinese is already concise compared to English. So about 1,000 English words generally need 1,400 modern Chinese characters to translate. But because Chinese characters is a square, so in terms of the length, it is much shorter. The printout was much thinner than the English version. But If you use classical Chinese, you only need several hundred classical Chinese words. That's a big difference, several hundred. So you may ask why there was such a big difference. One big reason is that modern Chinese is lengthy. Why? Because it has created too many two-character words. We know a lot of words are two-character, but in the classical Chinese, most of the words are one character. Many of the two-character words are not created scientifically. For example, 使用 is a word meaning to use. But if you check the dictionary, you will see 使 and 用 both mean to use, 用. So actually, one character, 用, is good enough. But when people try to use 用, many times in the written language, they will say 使用. Okay, let's see some big differences between classical Chinese, 文言文, and modern Chinese, 白话文. So these are the table. First, based on the size, you can see 文言文 is very concise compared to lengthy 白话文, modern Chinese. Second, understanding, how to understand it. Is it easy to understand? For 文言文, it is elegant and refined, but it is not easy to understand first. But for 白话文, it is clear and easy to understand because it is what you say. It is basically spoken language. Next one, the order of words. You know, in Chinese, modern Chinese, we have the grammar, a very strict grammar. So there's less flexibility. You can change the order of the words. But in traditional Chinese, there are many occasions you can swap the orders. Also, the word meaning is a little bit different. In traditional Chinese, because most of the time it is one character. So one character may have multiple meanings, but in modern Chinese, it depends. Most of the time it is fixed. Also, one specific difference between modern and classic is that in modern Chinese we use 的 meaning of, but in traditional Chinese it is 之. Of course, 之 has many other meanings. Also, the sentence ending particles in traditional Chinese, we use a lot of something like 已经的已, 一, 乎, 也. Here, 也 doesn't mean also to. No, it is just the particle, ending sentence particle. In modern Chinese, you use 了, 吧, 啊, 嘛. Punctuation. So this is very different. In modern Chinese, you use the punctuation system borrowed from the Western style, Western system. But in traditional Chinese, you don't use them. We don't have a punctuation system. We seldom use any punctuations. If there is any punctuation in the late of the Qing dynasty or Ming dynasty, they just use periods. How can you know where the sentence stop? These characters will tell you how to stop the sentence. So it's a little bit hard to first separate the sentence. In terms of the learning perspective, classical Chinese, you need to have some training. But for modern Chinese, you just need some basic knowledge about the words. So that's the difference. So in terms of specifically the words, we can see the difference here. The important thing is the order of the verb. Let's see some examples. 文言文. First, in 文言文, we have noun as a verb. Many times, noun as a verb. For example, I read that. 吕伯胜怒题字. 吕 monkey. 不胜 meaning can't help or very. 怒 angry. 提之 is a person. 之 is like it or him or him. So the monkey is very angry and kick him. 提之 here you can see 提 actually meaning animal's foot. But here a noun is used as a verb meaning to kick with the foot. Next, noun as an adverb. For example, this is a story about two wolves. So, 一狼惊去，其犬坐于前。一狼惊去，一只狼离开了。One wolf walked away. 其一犬坐于前，另外一只像狗一样坐在前面。其一 another one sit in front of him like a dog. 其一 meaning another one. 坐 meaning sit. 于 meaning at. 前 meaning his front or in front of him. 犬 is a dog. 犬字旁 dog. But here 犬 meaning like a dog. So sit in front of him like a dog. 犬坐于前 it is an adverb. It is not a dog. Like a dog. Third one, object before a verb. For example, we have one sentence from the idiom 郑人买履，令信夺，无自信也。令 rather, 信 trust, 夺 meaning the measure. That's the different sound. So that's why today we have degree, the meaning of degree. For example, 2 degree, 3 degree. Old times, it means to measure. 夺，宁信夺。I would rather trust my measure. 无自信也，无 not. 信相信，也 particle. 信自信 myself trust, meaning I would rather trust my measure than to trust my feet. Than trust my feet. 无自信也 so 自信 meaning 无信自也 so this is order difference. 不相信自己的脚，无自信也。Interrogative pronoun before a verb. So this is another order change. For example, 我素与陈柏徐公美。我素 meaning which one. 素 here meaning which one 哪一个。与 meaning and. 陈柏徐公 so Mr. Xu in the north of the town. 美 meaning beautiful, handsome, which means who is more handsome between me and Mr. Xu in the north of the town? Technically, if the correct order, it should be 我与陈柏徐公哪一个美？素美。我与陈柏徐公素美。我和陈柏的徐公哪一个更英俊？ Also another change. Pronoun before verb in negative sentence. 孔夫子 said, 君子病无能焉，不病人之不己知也。病 here meaning worry, hate. So 孔子说，孔夫子 said, 君子 gentleman worry about 无能焉，无能 meaning no ability or inability, meaning the gentleman only worries about his own inability. 焉 is a particle. 不病，人之不己知也。不病 meaning do not worry about. 不病。人之不 不己知也，人 meaning other people, 知 meaning of, 不己知也 meaning 不知己也 meaning do not know you, do not know yourself, which means Confucius said a gentleman only worries about his own inability or capability and should never worry about whether others know he is capable. So, which means you should worry about your own virtue, your skill. You should not show off, basically saying. 己知也 meaning 知己也，知道你这个人。So this is another order change. Sixth one, inversion with 以者 etc. For example, 正能买履，何不视之以足？足 meaning foot. 何不 meaning 为什么不？何 in Chinese meaning 为什么不？是 try. 知 meaning it. Why not try it with your feet? 以足 is feet. For example, 足球 soccer is basically football. So 足球 The correct order is 何不以足视之? Why not use your feet to try it? So this is the correct Chinese way or modern Chinese way. But in traditional Chinese, in classical Chinese, we use 以足 and put behind 之. The next one, 求人可使报情者未得。求 meaning to find. 求人 meaning to find a person. 可使报情 meaning 可以出使报告秦国。To be an ambassador to Qin, to the state of Qin. Such kind of person cannot find. 未得 meaning failed. So basically saying, search for a person who can notify Qin, who can be ambassador to Qin, but failed. So 人可使报情者. It is more like English. It's a sentence to modify 人, but in modern Chinese you do not do that way. In modern Chinese would say 求可使报情人未得. But in traditional Chinese you would say 求人可报情使者. 者 is like who. So this is interesting, right? Okay, the last one is very, very common in classical Chinese. Borrow characters which with the same sound. Borrow characters with the same sound. Why? Because one reason is that in ancient times, communication is very hard, and there are also fewer characters created. So the writer forgot the word, just use other word to represent as long as people understand the sound. Another reason is that because Chinese tradition try to avoid any name in their ancestors' name or in the emperor's name. So they try to avoid that. So they have to use different character even though they sound the same. For example, Confucius said, 子曰学而时习之，不亦乐乎？不亦乐乎？子曰，孔子说，子 here meaning 孔子，曰 meaning 说，学而时习之，学 meaning learn, 而 and, 时 meaning often, continuously, 习 here meaning practice. So 学习 meaning you learn and practice. 知 meaning it, content, meaning the what you have learned. 不亦乐乎? 不也是 亦 meaning 也 also. Who is the particle? So this is 说, actually it is not 说, it is 乐. It's this character. 悦，喜悦的悦 meaning pleased. 子曰：“学而时习之，不亦说乎？” Confucius said, to learn and continuously practice it. Isn't that happy? Isn't that good? Okay, finally, let's see a 文言文 about an idiom I introduced in HSK4 called 郑人买履. A man from the state Zheng to buy shoes. I will read and explain it. Okay. 郑人有欲买履者，先自夺其左，而致知其作。致知事，而忘操之。以得履，乃曰：吾忘迟度。反归取之，即反，是罢，遂不得履。人曰：何不试之以足？曰：宁信度，吾自信也。First, remember all the punctuation here is added by today's people, not ancient time. So let me read that. 郑人有欲买履者，郑国有一个人要想有欲 meaning 要，履 meaning shoes, 者 meaning the person. 郑国有一个想要买鞋子的人，先自夺其足，先自己量了他的脚，其 meaning his, he, 左 foot, 而知之其座，而把它放在座位上。座 here is the seat. 置 meaning 放置 put. 知 is the pronoun of this guy, which is 夺 meaning the measure. 置之事到了market 上面，而忘操之，而忘了拿它，操 meaning to carry it. 以得履，已经拿了鞋子了，乃曰才说，曰 here meaning 说 in old times, 曰 always meaning 说，乃曰才说，忘迟夺，我忘了那个 measure. 反归取之，反 meaning turn around, 归 meaning and return and take it. 之 here meaning 夺。即反，等到他返回来的时候，是罢 market is closed, 遂不得履，遂 meaning therefore 就不得履meaning cannot buy the shoes. 人曰 other people said, 何不试之以足？为什么不用脚去试一下呢？曰 meaning 他说，宁信度，我宁可相信 I would rather trust 宁信夺，我宁可相信我的 measure. 无自信也，也不相信我的脚啊。So this is, you can see it is very concise. One reason is that many of the words is just one character. Another thing is that it omits a lot of stuff in the context. So that's the interesting part of classical Chinese. Hopefully you understand what I'm talking about here. It is a little bit tricky. So article mainly takes the content from here, Wikipedia. So you can, if you want to read, you can click the link here from the website. Thank you very much.